Did you see the thing about the 6 Democrats who are all military service and intelligence work in their background said, look, you don't have to follow orders. I don't know about that.
Here's the point. The military, there's a military rule that says you must follow legal, lawful orders. It's already in their military contract. They know what they take.
But who's to say what that is? Yeah. Aren't the courts looking at that right now? And now you're going to say to 21-year-olds on the USS Enterprise, you have to decide?
*** political commentator Bill Maher, known for being liberal but occasionally right, called out the craziness of Democrats telling troops to decide which orders to follow based on vibes and politics. It's the kind of reckless behavior you see when people who should know better choose chaos over letting Trump be president again. Welcome to return of power. It seems Democrats still haven't learned that you don't play games with the military just because you're out of power. Every time they pull stunts like this, it shows how little respect they have for basic discipline. Even Maher had to spell it out, breaking ranks and upsetting the liberals on his panel by pushing back on Democrats who shared this insane video. ***.
Now, I understand what they mean, because this thing with Venezuela, but what do you think about telling people in the armed services you don't have to follow orders? Now, Trump, of course, went ballistic and said, George Washington would have hung me.
And meanwhile, those lawmakers have to reach out to the U.S. Capitol Police, the House Sergeant at Arms, because they're getting death threats, because they're afraid. And look, Senator Mark Kelly...
Who's getting death threats?
Those members.
Oh, those members,
Alyssa Slotkin, Mark Kelly, who's married to Gabby Gifford. I mean, to get death threats, he understands that. So, and their point was, don't give up the ship. You've taken an oath, don't give up the ship.
Once you say to the military, you get to decide, as opposed to yes sir, no sir, follow orders, it's a dangerous area.
What about what we say in 9th grade civics class, though, about the Bill of Rights and the United States Constitution? That goes back to undereducating Americans, period. I think that there's a goal in public schools to make sure Americans are dumb. And I don't just mean Americans that look like me. To make sure the average working class American is dumb. The average soldier...
You think that's a conspiracy?
Yeah, I do. Because I think that the average working...
Well, again, that's the Democrats' portfolio is education.
Yeah, which side of the fence you on?
Okay, great.
It hasn't been good for America.
***. Maher is pointing out something Democrats always act like they don't get. These 6 lawmakers weren't defending democracy. They were openly telling young troops to ignore Trump's orders. And now Donna Brazile is complaining about death threats, as if her side hasn't spent years stirring up hostility. Tom Homan had to hide his family because of left-wing extremists. ICE agents get harassed constantly. Trump survived 2 near-fatal attacks. And we all know what just happened to Charlie Kirk. The fact is, Democrats helped create this hostile environment, yet they still play the victim and act shocked by the chaos they caused. ***.
I happen to believe in this republic. I think that as young as we are in 250 years, we stand the greatest chance of being one of the greatest republics ever to have been formed on earth. But we are giving up too much. And part of what you give up is the adherence to the United States Constitution and the understanding that that Constitution can transform. It can be amended. It can be grow. I personally think the 13th Amendment needs to be re-amended so that we don't have an excuse for slavery, period. But I think that soldiers do have a responsibility to adhere to the Constitution. I think if you're sent in on orders to disrupt a First Amendment constitutionally protected thing, I think as a soldier you should say absolutely not. And people who wear like this every day usually do this and say yes sir and no sir. So for me, I would rather our soldiers be strictly adherent to the United States Constitution and not following the order that's unconstitutional.
Again, you're asking, I mean...
the military is just different. I'm sorry. You're asking kids who probably don't know anything about the Constitution to make that decision.
Well, we got to fix that too, Bill. Like
I know, but we haven't fixed it. But right now we have it.
Schoolhouse Rock on Saturday. It's like we got to do something, brother. We can't just have an ignorant proletariat.
***. Democrats have run public schools for decades, hollowed out civics education, and left generations unable to understand basic constitutional authority. That's the real problem. Elites play power games while the working class they claim to protect doesn't even have the tools to know what's legal and what's not. It's the same pattern everywhere, from the 51 intelligence officials promoting the Hunter Biden laptop story to the chaos they encourage on the streets when they lose. Democrats don't protect institutions, they weaken them until they serve their goals. That's why they try to reduce everything to subjective interpretations, creating doubt and confusion even in the military. ***.
And let's be very clear, Martha, these Democrat senators knew exactly what they were doing. It's not a coincidence that all of them have military or national security experience in their background. They were leaning into that experience to try and give a wink and a nod to the 1.3 million active duty service members who serve in our United States Armed Forces, and essentially encourage them to defy the orders of their commander-in-chief, which is illegal, by the way. Let me be very clear. Not a single order this president or administration has given to our military has ever been illegal, nor will it ever be. This administration respects and abides by the law, and these officials know it. They are trying to sow chaos and distrust, which is a very dangerous thing to do within the military's ranks. The sanctity of our military respects and relies on law and order and the chain of command, and that's what this administration is trying to say, and that's why the Department of War opened up this investigation against Senator Mark Kelly today. They can't answer the question, Martha, because there is no answer. They can't identify illegal orders because there are no illegal orders. But they were suggesting, again, to the 1.3 million active duty service members in the military today that if you think an order is illegal, you don't have to follow it. Actually, that's against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It explicitly states, and I want to read this language precisely, that service members have a legal obligation under the U.S. UCMJ to obey lawful orders, and that orders are presumed to be lawful. You can't have a soldier out on the battlefield or conducting a classified order questioning whether that order is lawful or whether they should follow through. There must be a chain of command in our military, and Republicans and Democrats for decades, since the beginning of our country, have always respected that until now when the Democrat Party has been completely overtaken by Trump derangement syndrome, and now we have these deranged statements from sitting members of Congress.
***. Caroline Levitt really hits the point. These lawmakers weren't giving a neutral public service message. They were using their military and intelligence backgrounds as a weapon, trying to convince young service members that ignoring Trump's lawful orders was the right thing to do. It's the same tactic the 51 intelligence officials used with the Hunter Biden laptop story: lean on your credentials, speak with authority, and push people toward the outcome you want. Democrats know how powerful those credentials are, and they use that influence every time. What do you think? Is this kind of credential weaponizing becoming a real threat to the institutions Democrats claim to protect? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Until next time, this has been Return of Power. Thanks for watching. ***.